everyone, good morning. It's 11:30. That means it's this version of Market Fatafat where we get you the 30 stocks, trends as well as buzzers that you need to know about what exactly is happening in the trading session. It's a comprehensive wrap that's going to be brought to you by our research analyst Sam Mubina Kapasi, and let's bring on board all of our experts who are going to be joining us now on the show, as well as researchers joining us now. Karunya Rao, Neelu Kedia, Siddharth Bamre, Poonam Sani, Pranay Jain, Kunal Bothra, as well as Rajesh Palviya, who is as well joining us on the show. Good morning to all of you. Thanks so much for joining in. The markets, well, we're not that bad, but we're not that great either, especially since we're tapping that 5-day losing streak that we have been witnessing. But first on our list that we have observed is Just Dial. The stock is higher today in trade and it is on the back of a result reaction. The Just Dial's numbers look a bit tepid. The growth as well is a bit tepid. It's only the other income that has managed to boost profitability. Revenues are higher by 2% sequentially. Bottom line higher by a good 36.5%, and the margins have in fact compressed a bit on a QOQ basis from 23.6% to 22.8%. The stock, however, higher by a good 6% in trade today. So that's stock number one for you on our list. But the next stock is Century Textile. Kunal, yesterday it was a sore loser after that deal with Ultratech Cement. What is it that you're observing today?
Yeah, so Century Ply is the stock which we are discussing, and I think that stock has seen some bit of intense selling pressure, of course, in the last few days. Looking at the last 1 month of chart patterns as well, the stock has come back below its 200 moving average. But I believe that on daily charts, the last 4-5 days of volume accumulation indicates that maybe a short-term bottom could be in place. 250 is a strong support, so I think position traders should look at a buy, maybe keeping at 250 as a stop loss and looking for targets close to 325 on Century Ply.
Okay, that's Century Ply for you. Karunya, meantime, it's not only Bajaj, Finance and Finserv, but even Auto that's actually dominating the Nifty gainers list.
Oh yes, and that's on back of the upgrades that have poured in this morning from Macquarie, from Jefferies, as well as Nomura. Nomura now basically has upgraded to buy from a neutral rating. The target price is also quite optimistic, implying a 25% upside at 3,395 rupees. They see that overall there's been a lot of improvement after the Q4 numbers came out, whether it's the exports, the three-wheeler segment, the motorcycles in the domestic market. So all in all, it's been a very strong recovery come by for Bajaj, and that's why they've been so upbeat on this particular counter. Even Macquarie has upgraded to neutral, target at 2,800. They see a balanced risk-reward ratio playing out for Bajaj, and however, having said that, they have highlighted the fact that in the two-wheelers pack, Bajaj is not the only one. They also have Eicher, which tops their list in two-wheelers.
And 3.2% higher for Bajaj Auto at this point of time. But moving on, we have another result candidate. It's going to be coming out with its Q4 numbers today. Pranay, Dr. Reddy's.
Yes, and its US sales are expected to decline by about 8%, which is what we've also seen from some of the other mid-tier companies that have posted their results, not only because of the pricing pressure, but the intense competition and the limited launches that most of these companies have seen, which is why actually after many days of fall, you had seen the stocks open up in green, but they've now given up their early morning gains as well. Similar is the case with Dr. Reddy's. It's showing up about 2%, but it was doing better at opening.
Okay, stock number 5 meantime, and once again it's a result candidate. We are going to be expecting the numbers, in fact, in the next 2 odd hours. Neelu, SBI is the stock on your radar.
The stock is under immense pressure today as the street is expecting the bank to post losses in their results. It's also because of the deterioration in their asset quality, as well as the stock is pinched by the increased provisions. And also another important news that's come up that's also putting a lot of pressure on the stock is that some of these senior staff unions are going to go on strike from May 30th to 31st in SBI.
Okay, that's SBI for you. Yes, like I said, the numbers are expected, and it's mostly expected to post a loss on the bottom line. Maybe that's the reason why you're seeing a bit of pressure come by on the stock prior to its numbers. Moving on, stock number 6, Mercator. Remember that it has been losing for the last 4 odd sessions, but Rajesh, today Mercator has snapped that losing streak and is up and away in trade.
See, if you look at the medium-term chart of Mercator line, it's in down, forming lower to the bottom formation. So I feel that stock heading
Okay, unfortunately we've snapped that line, but yeah, Mercator 7.5% higher as we speak. It's perched at a level of 24 odd rupees, and yes, certainly it has done pretty well comparatively, especially given the fact that it has been losing for the last 4 odd sessions. In fact, Rajesh is saying that the stock is in a downtrend and forming lower highs and lows, and of course the lower sides of 20 to 17 rupees are supported. Poonam, over to you then. Motilal Oswal, what is it that you're observing on that counter?
Well, pretty much strong results coming in from Motilal Oswal. In fact, if you look at the Q4 results, a strong profit growth has been seen along with strong revenue growth. In fact, the AMC business, the wealth management business rather, the broking business, as well as the overall fund management business has contributed significantly to the overall consolidated profits. And the management commentary seems fairly bullish, or outlook seems fairly bullish, especially in terms of the overall wealth management as well as the broking business. So watch out for Motilal Oswal.
Okay, yeah, and the stock is certainly gaining after the strong Q4 numbers. 953 is where that one's currently perched at. Stock number 8, Bosch. I guess the Q4 numbers of this one as well are expected today. Karanya, what is it that we can expect?
Well, not a good set. We're likely to see some kind of growth on the top line front. About 16 odd % is what we're expecting. But profitability, EBITDA, as well as margins, all three will be declining in all probability. We're expecting a degrowth, a mild degrowth in the bottom line, coming in about 434 odd crore rupees. EBITDA is likely to go down by more than 15%. So that is an important parameter to watch out for. We're expecting about 600 odd crores as far as the EBITDA number goes, and margins likely to compress a fair bit. 20% is what our poll suggests, and versus a margin of 27.3 crore. This is of course because of higher import content, because of BS6 developing the components that they are developing for BS6 compliant vehicles, and that is why we're likely to witness a fair amount of pressure on the operational as well as on the margins front.
Okay, that's of course Bosch for you. It's not expected to be a very good set of numbers. The stock is just about not doing much today as well, in trade higher by 0.2%. But moving on, DLF, the stock is reacting. It's not been that great a set of numbers. In fact, the sales have come down 38%. Bottom line is down by a whopping 76%. And not only that, on a consolidated basis, the debt as well has increased. It's at about 6,300 crore rupees. Nevertheless, the management has reiterated that aim of zero debt by the end of FY19. The stock has significantly moved up from the low point of the day, and in fact is now high by close to 1%. Stock number 10, Berger Paints. Siddharth, what is it that in terms of trends you are observing?
Well, Mubina, when it comes to paint industry, Berger Paint has always played a second fiddle to Asian Paints. But if you look last 1 week or so, including today, Asian Paints is correcting, whereas Berger Paint is taking the lead and moving higher. And in this process, what it has done is that it has crossed this resistance zone of 285, 287, and it's a price volume breakout. If you look at the volumes, they are substantially high. Yes, it has a low base in open interest, but nevertheless, the around 23-25% rise in OI clearly suggests that this is formation of long positions and a price volume breakout with rise in open interest.
Yeah, and of course, you've got to also consider the devil in the waiting. That's the higher crude prices that is going to perhaps come by and attack these companies in terms of compressing their margins. So, well, I guess most are watching out for that as well. The company, of course, hasn't come out with its Q4 numbers. Will be coming out by the end of this month. But Pranay, not a day goes by when we don't talk about strides. Very violent moves witnessed in the last 2 trading sessions. Today, of course, does not seem to be an exception to that.
Well, yes, earlier the stock had been falling after the steep disappointment in the results, as well as a proposed merger on the Australian side, which a lot of investors didn't have clarity about, and hence we saw a lot of selling. Now, after having fallen to multi-year lows from the highs of about 1,000 a year ago, the stock has started to rebound because since the company is ultimately the largest seller in Australia in terms of the top 3 players over there and has the highest generic market share, it has now reached the base value, which is why you're seeing the rebound in the stock today.
Okay, there you have it. Today the stock is higher by about 9.6%, and this after falling more than 30% in the last 2 days. So you can see the kind of partial rebound that has come by in the counter just in today's trading session. That's Stride Shasan for you. Moving on, Neelu, Navkar Corp is on your radar. What is it that you have witnessed in that stock?
The stock is trading really with smart gains today, as they have the company has posted really good numbers. Their PAT has improved, it is 34.5%, while their revenues have also come up by 16% year on year. And you'll see that there is a lot of volumes seen in the stock, so there's definitely the street is really upbeat about the stock.
And it is, but of course it has tempered off a bit from the day's high. Nevertheless, still higher by about 1.8%, perched at a level of 153 rupees. Ultratech Cement, this is a counter that as well has been a news maker after, of course, announcing that merger with the Century Textile Cement division. Poonam, today, however, the stock seems to be a bit lower in trade.
That's right. In fact, if you look at the Ultratech Cement stock, it's pretty much under pressure. It's trading at 15-month low, and it has extended the decline for a 5th straight session. In fact, if you look at the entire business, however, CLSA has gone ahead and stated a buy on Ultratech Cement with a price target of 5,000 rupees per share. They're stating that the company in fact has crossed 100 million tons in terms of capacity post the recent acquisition of Century Textile business. Although the stock is under recent pressure, they're still stating that they're going ahead and building in the benefits of branding, cost synergy as well as optimization coming out of this recent acquisition, and hence a target price of 5,000 rupees per share on Ultratech Cement.
But the stock, however, is at a 1.5-year low, well, close to a 1.5-year low as we speak. It's fallen for the 5th straight session, now at 3760. Pranay, Mahanagar Gas as well, tanking big time today in trade. What is it that you've observed?
Well, yes, there is an earnings miss clearly over there. The volumes were good actually, which was expected, but the sharp miss on the margins is what is weighing on the stock. This is also because of the higher cost of gas that we've seen, and despite the higher realizations, they were not able to pass it on because of the transmission cost. But nevertheless, the outlook on the growth remains positive on the counter.
Okay, outlook may remain positive, but for now, the stock is tanking big time in trade, 7.7% lower, in fact, as we speak. Stock number 15, Siddharth, Can Fin Homes. What is it that you're observing in terms of trends and patterns over there?
If you look at NBFC space, it's a very huge space, a lot of diverse companies, but it was housing finance companies which have been, taking most of the brunt when it comes to correction. And Can Fin Home Finance was no different. It corrected almost 35% from mid of March. That's a huge correction, and it's completely into oversold zone. And today we are seeing a strong bounce back. It's a positive candlestick formation which is happening. Oscillators are turning, and it is moving out of this oversold zone. And that has attracted my attention to highlight that what exactly is happening over here. Not sure whether this is a change in trend, but definitely this bounce is worth noting.
And that it is. The stock, in fact, has risen over 35% fall since mid-March, and according to Siddharth, it's now bouncing back from an oversold zone, higher by 2.4%. 15 down, 15 to go. Stock number 16 on our radar, Syntex Plastics. Neelu, what's causing the stock to go higher today?
The stock has been on an up move since a long time now. It has been attracting a lot of new investors as Morgan Stanley France buys 44 lakh shares of Syntex Plastic today. And also there has been a lot of positive news around this stock. Earlier, KKR infused around 1,250 crore rupees, and plus it had posted really good set of numbers in this quarter.
That it had, and the stock is higher by about 1.3%. Morgan Stanley checking into the counter, buying about close to 45 lakh shares as well. That's causing the stock to bounce today in trade. Kunal, Shriram Transport, it's higher today in trade. What is it that you're observing in this counter? It's higher by almost about 2.5%.
Yes, and I think the stock has been sort of seeing a lot of selling pressure in the last 2 weeks. Trying to establish a range, 1400 now acting as a good support now for Shriram Transport. So I think if the stock holds on to this 1400 kind of level, it could continue to be in this pattern of higher highs and higher lows. Remember that the stock is already trading above its long term, the 200-day moving average, which I believe is a very strong and a positive sign, especially in a market condition like this. So all in all, I think it's a good chart. 1400 is a support. I think anyone is looking for a contra buy, keep that as a stop loss and look to go long.
Okay, there you have it. Quite a good looking chart on Shriram Transport. And Kunal is advising that you could have a look at this counter. Moving on, Bharat Forge and Karnia, all these auto and auto ancillary names have been in focus since yesterday. We have Bharat Forge, which is expected as well to come out with its numbers. What can we expect?
Well, all we can expect is a good set because, there's been an all-round recovery even for Bharat Forge, whether it's the export market, the NA truck sales, Domestically, the CV space has been doing very well. So, given all of these favorable factors, we're expecting a good set to be delivered by Bharat Forge, an uptick of about 31% on the revenue front. Profits could go up about 19%. EBITDA growth of nearly 38% looks like it's on the cards, and margin expansion also a decent level, 30% versus 28.4% is expected. So watch out for that one. Good amount of operating leverage also kicking in for the company, so that could augur really well as far as the operational performance goes.
Well, the stock, however, has tempered off a bit from the day's high of 711. Now it's trading at a price point of about 698 rupees. Rajesh, let's talk about Radico Khaitan. You know, this is a stock that had been declining for the last 2 days, but there's been a very smart bounce back that has come by in this counter. What is it that you're observing in terms of trends?
Yeah, if you look at the structure of Radico, the long-term structure is positive and stock is trading in a positive territory in the near term as well as on the short-term chart. Indicators are also in the positive territory. Stock is consolidating in broad range of last 1 month. So I believe that once the stock manages to give record of 440, so I think stock can rally towards 470, 490. The lower side, the important critical support level on the downside would be around.
Okay, so it looks like the stock seems to be on an uptrend. That's at least what Rajesh is talking about. And we're down to the last 10 stocks. Stock number 20 is Usha Martin. It's a stock we don't talk about very often, but it's delivered a very good set of numbers. Just a reminder to our viewers, it's one of the largest wire rope manufacturers and is also involved in the making of certain specialty steel. It came out with its Q4 numbers yesterday, which certainly were a very good set. It was a robust Q4 because on the top line, the company had been able to grow 4x in Q4, and not only that, there was a profit of 11 crore rupees delivered by the company as opposed to a loss of almost about 140 crore rupees in the corresponding quarter. So clearly a turnaround in the operations accompanied by a robust rise in the top line, and that's something that's causing Usha Martin to rise a good 14% in trade. Poonam, Hudson Agro is something that you have found out seems to be buzzing today in trade. What is it that you're observing over there?
Well, again, a pretty much weak set of numbers has led to a huge amount of pressure on the stock. If you look at the profits, it's plunged nearly 94% led by pretty much a weaker revenue as well as a weak EBITDA growth. In fact, if you look at the entire milk or entire dairy sector, we are seeing some amount of pressure in this entire sector as well. As such, this entire stock has plunged. They have also gone ahead and fixed June 1st as the record date for the rights issue.
Okay, there you have it. That, of course, is Hudson Agro for you. It's down by about 7.5% in trade. Clearly, the weak Q4 playing out on the counter. Pranay, NCC is in focus. Today, it's higher in trade. There was also that brokerage note that did have a buy stance on the stock. What is it that you're observing?
Well, you know, the stock has actually corrected 30% in the last 1 month, along with, other quality names like Kiana Constructions. When the analysts met the managements of both the companies, they've actually said that there is no real news or development as to why there could be this fall in the stock. Their order books have seen strong growth in the last 1 year. The execution has also picked up pace. So FY19, that's what the brokerage report that you were pointing out to, has said that FY19 should actually be a very strong year, perhaps even an exceptional year for them, given the strong visibility that they have on revenues and growth. And even the order flows this year are expected to be pretty robust, which is why after the 30% fall, you're seeing the rebound in the stock.
Yeah, and a very strong one at that. In fact, it's extended the gaining momentum. It was just up 3% earlier. Now, in fact, it's higher by more than 6.5% in trade. But Poonam can't get our eyes off the Bajaj triplets. You know, earlier on we were alluding to the fact that it's the three Bajajes that have been dominating the top Nifty gainers list. Bajaj Finance as well, one of the top gainers today in trade.
Well, that's true. In fact, if you look at Bajaj Finance, it's hit a record high in today's trade. It's up nearly 18% in the last few sessions itself. In fact, if you look at the entire earnings, yes, again, pretty much strong earnings for them, led by a strong AUM growth, nearly around 40%. But management, of course, seems upbeat in terms of continuing to report strong or continuing to clock strong AUM growth along with an ROE of approximately 20%. Motilal, in fact, has gone ahead and they do expect the EPS, the profit growth of at least around 30% over the next couple of years, along with an ROE of 20 to 22%. So watch out for Bajaj Finance stock in the next few sessions as well.
Seems like a record-setting rally for Bajaj Finance. The stock as well today is trading at a record high. Siddharth, we can't get enough of auto and auto ancillary makers. Ashok Leyland is on your radar as well.
Well, they deserve to be on radar because the movement is as such. Mubina and Ashok Leyland, it's correcting since 165. If you see last fortnight, stock has been correcting and there is huge formation of short positions. Now yesterday it was interesting that despite street fell, the numbers were pretty decent. Stocks reacted negatively. Almost 10% down. We haven't seen Ashok Leyland reacting so much, and that two decent set of numbers, not that numbers were bad, and we saw formation of short positions. Now today it is completely contrast of that. Yesterday in cash market we saw slightly more than 5 crore volumes today. It's just 2.5 hours gone and we have already seen 3 crores of volumes in cash market, and we are also seeing formation of long positions. If this move continue, all those shorts which have been formed since last fortnight may run for cover.
5.5% higher for that, as you can see on your screens. Ashok Leyland's May futures doing pretty well today in trade after, of course, seeing carnage in yesterday's trading sessions. Neelu, Tata Communications, what is it that you're observing in terms of the way the stock's moving today in trade?
The stock, the street is really upbeat about Tata Sons unit Panatone to buy 4.7% stake in Tata Communication from Tata Power at the price of 631 per share. And also you can see that the stock is trading currently at its highest level.
All right, Tata Communications, stock number 26. Meantime, Kunal, is Emphasis. What is it you're observing?
I think the mid cap IT, the large cap IT, the space has been on a strong uptrend. So yes, even the Emphasis has seen some bit of short-term correction in the last 2 days. But the way that the stock has been sort of trading in the last 6 months, I think that clear uptrend, the long-term breakout, I think all in all it moves into favor that the stock should continue to rise. So maybe those short-term hiccups could probably arise for the stock, but nevertheless it's in a strong uptrend. So I think traders should be looking at this stock as a buy. Strong support around this 1,980 zone for Emphasis.
Okay, meantime, Karanya Future Group once again in focus, earnings this time.
Yeah, and not a good set because we saw future retail stock also tank a fair bit because of the weak set. Just for the benefit of viewers, they posted a loss of 463.6 crore rupees versus a PAT of 123 crores on a year-on-year basis. Revenue was also fairly muted, just an uptick of 2%. So clearly not much of a growth seen on top and bottom line both as far as the Q4 performance goes. But brokerages are still continue to be optimistic on the company, but with a slightly conscious sort of a stance. We have HSBC maintaining a buy stance, but the target price has been chopped from 730 to 700 rupees a share. They believe that Q4 was particularly a miss on the triple SG front. The same store sales growth has not been able to live up to what the street was expecting, and that is why they decided to chop the target price. Jeffries maintains a hold at a target price of 550. Q4 estimates overall have been a miss for the company, and they expected a 6% same store sales growth, and the future retail was not able to deliver that. 4% was what they managed to report, and that's why we're seeing a fair bit of pressure on the stock as well. However, I think it has recovered a bit from the days.
Right, and future consumer as well is on our radar. Rajesh, what is it that you're seeing over there?
Yeah, if you look at the near-term structure of future consumer, it's in corrective mode. Stock has corrected all the way from 80 level to 50 level, but some sort of recovery we have seen from the lower level. But still, stock is trading below 50 DMA, which is very important to cross again above to get some strength. So until unless stocks not manages to cross 62 level, we'll see some sort of supply pressure to remain in the stock for any kind of pullback action. So on the lower side, 45 and 42 are the critical level if it's break below 49 level. So as of now, for short-term investor, 49 has to be watched for. If it's hold, then some pullback action can be witnessed towards 62 or 65 level on the high side.
Okay, that's Rajesh's view on future consumer, which is down, by the way, for the third straight day. Stock number 29, JP Associates, continues to be on our radar. The stock, remember, had yesterday in trade fallen to an 11-month low after the NCLAT had directed the company to return about 760 acres of land to JP Infra. Today, however, it has rallied a good 11.6%, so a very smart rebound witnessed. It's gained almost about 17% from recent lows, so that is something that's on our radar. And finally, Siddharth nailed it down to the last stock on our list, Balrampur Chini. In fact, we're seeing a lot of action in all these sugar counters.
Well, yes, and the stock is in F&O band today, but today also I'm seeing a decline in open interest. Yesterday there was 13% decline in open interest, and it has reached to a point where it would come out of F&O band. And mind you, since November 2017, this stock is in a downward trend. And after quite some time, this last 3-4 days move would ensure, if stock moves above 70 and half 71, that there will be an higher high. And if that happens, and if stock moves out of F&O band, you would see a lot of short covering would start taking place. So watch out for this name. It might come out of F&O band tomorrow, and there can be more of short covering.
Alright, there you have it, the 30 stocks that you need to keep on your radar for today's trading session. Thanks to all of you for joining in, giving us your perspective. Kunal as well as Rajesh, thank you for giving us your stance and of course your take on the trends that we are witnessing in the markets today. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Fatafat. Stay tuned to ET Now for more news and updates. And of course, we're going to give you a brand new version of the show at 1:30 p.m.